Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, here we go again, folks. The left just can't help but prove every single one of our points every time they open their mouths. Right when you think they couldn't look any more incompetent, deceitful, and dishonest, any more laughable and desperate, well, they set the new standard and do pretty much exactly what you might predict. Again, the media circus is playing out in real time in front of our very eyes. The news media once again is telling you that what you're seeing isn't actually happening. Yeah, it's all a mirage. These are not fiery buildings behind me. This is a peaceful protest and totally normal in civil democratic society. You know, just how the left manipulatively redefined the term racism to comfortably fit their narrative. It seems they're now attempting to do the exact same thing with riots. Left-wing riots, destruction, vandalism, attacks, assaults, firebombs, I guess is now perfectly acceptable, well within the scope of your constitutional rights, of course as long as it's done in the pursuit of a left-wing vision. In other words, you are not seeing what you are seeing. The media talking heads are trying to pull a Jedi mind trick on the American people. Let's take a look at this nonsense. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with this embarrassing little clip here. This is when the propaganda goes sour, the gaslight goes wrong. We got another liberal law professor lecturing us here with the classic fear-mongering angle that Donald Trump is going to invoke the Insurrection Act.
We could see the president potentially, again, pull the cord and say, I need to invoke the Insurrection Act. As I'm sure you've been talking about, the Insurrection Act would give the president more authority to not just federalize the National Guard, but to say that the National Guard can actually act as domestic law enforcement, that the military on U.S. soil can search, can seize, can arrest. That's not something that we're accustomed to. So I'm looking to see, obviously, what's happening right now, but also how the situation evolves and how the president reacts.
And we have seen the president allude to the fact that and we're watching, sorry, Professor, there's a split screen here on the right side of your screen. We're seeing continued demonstrations, and a firebomb was just thrown down off of the 101 freeway overpass onto one of those CHP vehicles below.
And you could see slowly she realized that the jig was up. Ooh, there's nothing to see here, folks. Everything is totally peaceful. It's Donald Trump that's the problem. He's going to invoke the Insurrection Act, and as she's making this argument, we're seeing on screen rioters lobbing firebombs at police cruisers. Instead of condemning the lawlessness, instead of condemning the Democrats, who are basically behind it all, they're focused on the hypothetical that maybe Donald Trump will consider invoking the Insurrection Act and declaring martial law and taking over the country and declaring himself supreme leader of the world. What are they even on about? And I think probably the biggest irony of this whole situation is as she's sitting there pontificating on Donald Trump's fascistic tendencies, she's kind of inadvertently making an argument for the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act essentially allows the president to deploy federal troops into emergency zones to restore order when local authorities can't or won't. And yeah, let's be real. When the interstate's being shut down and you got 4 police cruisers being lit on fire, you know, maybe it's slowly reaching the level of an emergency. You know, watching that clip almost makes you want Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act. It's that or the Democrat alternative. Just let it all burn down, I guess. Burn the world down as we chase progress. Sounds a little bit paradoxical in a way. But anyways, back on topic here. Don't believe your eyes. Believe what the Democrats are saying in the media. Here's another propaganda moment gone wrong.
Well, again, it's an escalation that didn't have to happen. Why were there raids? You know, we had been told that he was going to go after violent criminals. It wasn't a drug den. It was a Home Depot. It was places where people are working. So what was the point of doing this? And then knowing that in a city like Los Angeles, and we had talked about this for a long time, that has a very sophisticated long-term immigrant rights organizations and institutions, that if these random raids were going to happen, then there was going to be the danger of a backlash. And you add on to that the National Guard, and it felt like fuel for a fire that was unnecessary.
Given the point where it has escalated to, do you think the National Guard is needed now?
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now. Things in LA are calm. I will tell you that I'm saddened by the extent of the vandalism in the form of graffiti all through the downtown area. But it is important for people to know that even in downtown, this is isolated to a few streets.
We got Karen Bass taking to the media and telling everybody that, oh, things are calm, while the screen is showing absolute bedlam in Los Angeles.
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed.
It looks like a damn war zone, but she insists that everything is calm, lying to our frickin' faces again, as the truth plays in real time through the live feed as they speak. Standing in front of that burning building again, that same infamous clip, peaceful protests. To be more dishonest does not exist. The media wants you to deny the reality that is playing right before you. And of course, speaking of exactly that concept, in comes the king of fake news himself, little Brian Stelter, once again, to lecture us with his little misinformation shtick.
The Defense Department earlier today, the DOD's rapid response account on X saying LA is burning. Of course, Monday morning, there were no fires burning this morning in LA. So that kind of very hyped up, very hypercharged rhetoric coming from Trump, coming from his agencies, and coming from his MAGA media outlets. We all live on our phones these days. We're all scrolling through social media. You've got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates, look at when things are actually posted, and if they're really from the situation they're purporting to be. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA. It's actually from 2 days ago. And that's, it only matters because it can give people a false impression of what's actually happening at a moment of unrest.
Ooh, it's fake news. It's misinformation. Look at the timestamps. Yeah, I don't know, Brian. Seems pretty fiery to me.
Of course, the fire that has really caught a lot of people's attention.
It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Yeah, I think the DOD was right to say it. But according to little Bri Stelter, Mr. Cheap Fakes himself, it's fake news because it wasn't happening the exact split second that the DOD made that post. Oh, what a legacy little Brian Stelter has, Mr. Cheap Fakes himself.
Cheap fakes are a little bit simpler. They're cheap. They're just distorted, out of context videos.
Mr. Don't do your own research, Brian.
That phrase, do your own research, it's popping up a lot in conversation. It seems so innocent, but it can have serious consequences.
Yeah, don't do your own research. Just trust Brian Stelter. I can't see what could possibly go wrong. But anyways, what else to say other than the clown parade is rolling through Main Street? We've got these left-wing propagandists working overtime, trying to convince us of Donald Trump's authoritarian overreach that literally does not exist. They're trying to convince us that these are peaceful protests, while they clearly, very evidently, are not. These people are liars, propagandists, political frickin' hacks, and they prove it time and time again. It's not the first time we've done this exact work. Every time, every issue, it's always the same strategies. They're the most predictable, most dishonest, opportunistic clowns in the game. And here they go again, making complete and utter fools of themselves. Another day, another Democrat psyop. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.